Stephen A. Smith is killing it. Stephen A. Smith is winning. Stephen A. Smith is his own algorithm. Like, be real. Every time I go to try and find articles, like literally half of them are Stephen A. Smith. So a lot of my content's going to be Stephen A. Smith, and I have no problem with it. I won't go right on Stephen A. Smith doing a topic on him. It doesn't bother me. But Max Kellerman's name still bothers him. And the only thing you can really get from that is the fact that what Max Kellerman was doing was outsmarting Stephen A. at his own game, which is a twofold game if you understand what Stephen A. Smith really is about. One is I'm going to say stuff so profound or prolific or things that cut through that I'm going to be top dog, right? So that's one thing. And Max was starting to outsmart, not necessarily do better on the show because he wasn't fully himself. That wasn't Max Kellerman fully. He was kind of like a tame version. He was trying to get in where he fit in, and he didn't get in, right? So the other part of it is, so, you know, if you're Stephen A., you're like, yo, his name ain't buzzing, but he's saying some stuff. And Max is so nuanced, he was winning that conversation. Like, people who were actually listening and thinking, not just reading headlines, was like, yo, Max is killing it. People reading the headlines was like, yo, Stephen A. is killing it. We all went through this, so this is nothing new. The other part of it is, though, you know, Stephen A. wants to be the one who leads the charge. Look at his crew. Look at it right now. I mean, look what that is. Gil, Jay Will, and then him, right? Molly being the moderator. He wanted to lead the brothers. He wanted to be the big brother to all the other brothers, and to give out handouts to everybody else to come on up here to my level, which is remarkable, which is admirable, which is love. But then Max comes on here, obviously different paint job, you know, but don't let the paint job fool you. And he had all the cultural references and all the cultural, I guess, ammunition necessary to make people say, oh, he could go to the cookout, and you know where that goes. Then all of a sudden, they start questioning you. And Stephen A., with his controversial takes at times, gets called the sellout while Max is the brother. Max is down, right? Mind ninja. So that was complicated. That was really complicated. And I think that still, obviously, by that reaction, doesn't sit well with Stephen A. Smith.
Urban Artificial Intelligence, Strategic Thinking Media Platform. Stephen A. Smith versus Marcellus Wiley, man. How far is this going to go? Marcellus Wiley won't smoke. Marcellus Wiley continues to poke at Stephen A. Smith. He been on Stephen A. Heels, man. Pretty much he did a 2-part episode where he kind of just went in on Stephen A. Smith. Now, he kind of tried to keep it respectful to an extent. I can tell he got respect for Stephen A. Smith, but he's still kind of going in on him. He's still kind of just popping his shit, man. But get in the comments, let me know. I didn't know that their relationship was this bad. Get in the comments, man. Let me know if y'all knew that. I knew it was a little bit of tension there over the whole Max Kellerman situation, and we're going to talk about that because that's kind of where it started. But I didn't know they didn't like each other to this extent. When I seen Stephen A. Smith, the clip of Stephen A. Smith speaking on Marcellus Wiley, I was kind of like, wow. And he didn't say Marcellus Wiley name, by the way. People in the comments, they knew who he was talking about. And when he says Max Kellerman's boy, you know Marcellus Wiley is who he's talking about. But when I seen it, I was kind of taken aback a little bit. I was like, damn, okay, I didn't know it was like that. But then when I seen Marcellus Wiley kind of respond to that, I was like, oh, shit. So it's up between them. It's been up between them. This is nothing new. I'm guessing ever since Marcellus Wiley was fired, is that where this started? Y'all got to get in the comments and let me know. Again, I knew that once Stephen A. Smith was blamed for Max Kellerman getting fired, a lot of people kind of didn't fuck with Stephen A. Smith because a lot of people like Max Kellerman. But I didn't know that it was this deep, man. And it's kind of funny that this whole thing is resurfacing. Why is everybody talking about Stephen A. Smith not fucking with Max Kellerman again? Is this is if there is a stain on Stephen A. Smith's jacket, I think this is it. I think this whole Max Kellerman thing, and let me not call it a stain necessarily, because I don't know if he got Max Kellerman fired, but for people to still be talking about this and for Stephen A. Smith to feel like he needed to address it, That's kind of telling, y'all. That's telling, at least to me. Y'all get in the comments and let me know what y'all think. Stephen A. Smith still, he don't want that look. He doesn't want that look. I'm the guy that got Max Kellerman fired. He don't want that look, and I'm not saying that he's going to sleep crying in his pillow at night because people think he got Max Kellerman fired. No, but when he hear people talk like that, he corrects them. He corrects them. Now again, where did this all start? I thought originally it started with Stephen A. Smith coverage of the finals. And y'all get in the comments and let me know. A lot of people said that he had lackluster coverage of the finals. And I'm going to be real. I think everybody kind of had lackluster coverage of the finals. The games were good, in my opinion, until Halliburton obviously got hurt. It was, and even, the game after that was, it wasn't a blowout or anything, but the games was good, I think, because had to do a lot with the markets. People just wasn't interested in OKC versus Indiana. That's just something that people wasn't interested in. It's a small market, not a whole lot of firepower outside of the star players. I kind of think, it just overall the media, it didn't seem like there was just swarming to the NBA finals how they was in years past when you have KD, LeBron, Steph Curry, guys like that in those big games. But I want y'all to get in the comments and let me know. There was some incident where Stephen A. Smith, I guess, was caught playing solitaire during the NBA Finals. Let me know if y'all seen that, and let me know how y'all feel about his overall finals coverage. A lot of people wasn't fucking with it. They're saying this is why people start snapping on him. They say, hey, you getting $20 million a year, and you can't even cover the NBA Finals, the biggest stage, in NBA, in basketball. You can't cover the finals. You get $20 million a year. Y'all get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Again, that's what I originally thought. I thought him and Marcellus Wiley beef started with the whole coverage of the NBA Finals. I guess Marcellus Wiley called him out about it. And this is another thing, man. With all these personalities, all of these sports commentator personalities having their own YouTube shows, it's just a breeding ground for smoke, basically. That's what everybody using their YouTube for. Some of these guys are actually talking about sports maybe 20 or 30% of the time. The other 70 to 80% of the time, they're responding to people or they're talking shit about people. So it's kind of crazy to see this going on, but that's what people are using their platforms for, man. But get in the comments, man. Let me know, when do y'all think this started? Again, I thought it was with the finals. It wasn't. It was when Max Kellerman was brought up. Now, Jay Williams on one of the recent shows at the time of First Take, he actually brought up something that Max Kellerman said. When he brought that up, people like zoomed in on Stephen A.'s face. People is just crazy, man. The internet is going crazy. But they zoomed in on Stephen A. Smith's face when Jay Williams brought up Max Kellerman. Jay Williams, somebody else who rock with Max Kellerman heavy. When he brought up Max Kellerman, it seemingly, I don't know for sure, but it seemingly looked like Stephen A. Smith made some type of face. I don't know. Y'all can see the clip. Y'all let me know. You tell me. Things like this, again, bother Stephen A. Smith. Anytime people speak about Max Kellerman, everybody just looks at Stephen A. Smith. Still trying to tell where their relationship was. What went wrong in their relationship? Did it end on Stephen A. terms? Did he get Max Kellerman fired? Did Max Kellerman say, hey, I'm going to remove myself from this? And how does Max Kellerman feel about Stephen A. Smith? Even if Stephen A. Smith did get him fired, how does Max Kellerman feel about it? Marcellus Wiley, he spoke on it when he was attacking Stephen A. on his YouTube. He basically said Stephen A. wanted Max Kellerman to kind of fall in line and do everything that Stephen A. said. Marcellus Wiley said Stephen A. does not like independent thinkers around him. He'll have them around them for a little while, then they'll eventually move on. I don't know how true that is. It seems like he's bringing a lot of different type of people up into the folds of ESPN, Chad Ochocinco, Gilbert Arenas. It seems like he's giving people opportunity. I don't know. Y'all can get in the comments and let me know what y'all think. But I thought this was just gonna be a quick, two-piece. Maybe Marcellus Wiley was gonna say one or two things, have one or two shows where he touched on the Stephen A. topic, but nah, it looked like he's going full speed ahead. He wants Stephen A. Smith to say his name. He hasn't said it yet. I have not heard Stephen A. Smith say Marcellus Wiley, but again, when he say Max Kellerman boy, we know who he's talking about. I think Stephen A. Smith is contemplating saying Marcellus Wiley name. He knows if he says Marcellus Wiley name, he may put his career on another level as far as his YouTube career and being a content creator. If Stephen A. Smith says Marcellus Wiley's name, Marcellus Wiley is going to get more engagements, more interactions, more views, more comments than he usually gets. That puts Stephen A. in a kind of weird situation. What would y'all do? I know if I say this man's name, if I get him lit, he's going up. But I want to talk my shit. I still want to pop my shit. What do we do? What does Stephen A. Smith do? How does he handle this? How does Stephen A. get over the whole Max Kellerman thing? This shit is still like haunting him. What should he do about this whole Max Kellerman situation? He spoke on it at length, and it's kind of like people still don't believe him. I almost would go as far as to maybe he should have a sit down with Max Kellerman. Now that may not fix anything either. And if they truly are on bad terms, and if he did get Max Kellerman fired, then he wouldn't be able to do that. But if that's not the case, I would almost consider a sit down with Max Kellerman, because people are kind of obsessed with this, and Marcellus Wiley sees an angle here. He sees an angle here. He can just keep bringing up the fact that he got Max Kellerman fired. That could be Marcellus Wiley angle. Marcellus Wiley is Max Kellerman's actual real friend. He's in the industry. All right, so maybe he is clout chasing, but he's clout chasing in a certain way where he got all his bases covered. He can say, well, I'm doing this for my homie. I'm doing this for Max. I want to know what happened. Max is my friend. This is something that affected me. That's why I'm doing this. But Stephen A. Smith don't like Marcellus Wiley at all. Again, I didn't know it was this bad. I think they actually worked at ESPN together for a while. One of the networks they worked at together. And it seemed like they was cool, but I don't know, man. Y'all get in the comments and let me know. And Marcellus Wiley, he went to Columbia. He's an articulate dude. Again, I don't just sit there and binge his content like I do some others, but he can put a sentence together, and he knows how to kind of get things off. He is kind of calculated in the things that he does. He reads between the lines. And I don't know. I think this is kind of a good little back and forth for Stephen A, man. And should he say Marcellus Wiley name? That's another thing. What should he do? You gonna turn him up? I don't know, man. Urban Artificial Intelligence, strategic thinking media platform. If you like the content, like, share, subscribe, and help the channel grow. I'm gonna see y'all in the next episode. Peace.